Hey, it's January. I can't believe it. It's freezing cold where I am and lots of snow, but most importantly, very excited about doing something called Better Human Dads. And it's about sharing stories, ideas, talking to different dads, hearing what's going on. And of course, I'm with the greatest, Paul. Hey, Paul,
How are
how's
you,
it going?
Steve? Doing great, man. We are back home in Victoria, and it is a beautiful day. It looks like the sun's coming up. Maybe a little bit of rain, but there's no snow here, and it's about plus. It's gonna be about +9, I think, today. So we're grateful
Well,
to be here, and I'm grateful to be
stop
here with
bragging.
you.
Stop bragging.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's
it's
gonna be a
not
beautiful
here.
day. Well, we
As
just came.
Calgarians, it's always
Yeah.
about the weather. Yeah,
Well, we just came from Toronto, and there was like the snowmageddon there. Like it was crazy snow. So we're happy to be home.
cool.
Yeah,
Just, here we are, day one, first podcast. Expect
yeah,
mistakes, by the way, if you're watching this. And pretty excited about starting this project and to start recognizing dads who are doing a great job as a dad. It means different things to different people. I know Paul and I have been talking about this for a long time now, 5+ years, and
yeah,
finally we're pulling the trigger. So
yeah.
pretty excited. I don't know how you're
Yeah,
feeling,
well,
Paul.
yeah, it's crazy how long we've been talking about this. Right? We wrote our other two books, Better Human, Being a Better Human Being, and Being a Better Human Teenager. We did that years ago, and all of a sudden the timing was right, I think. And you know what they say,
Mm.
when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and I think the two students have arrived.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
So I thought, hey, I'll just start the conversation, but it'd be great to let share some of our backgrounds. Why this is a passion project for us.
hmm,
Um, do you want to kick it off, Paul, or do you want me to go? What's up to you?
sure. Yeah. So I grew up raised by a single mom, and I think that's where Steve and I connect a lot here. Is I lived in northern Alberta with a single mom. My dad left when I was, I think, around 5, and so my mom raised four of us. And she was a young woman herself, 25 years old. She had a 6, a 5, a 4, and a 3-year old. And when I met my current wife, this is our second marriage. She came with two kids. When I met her, our daughter was 2 and our son was 5. And I didn't have a role model as a dad, and so I always wanted to be a perfect dad. I retired early from the police department to become a stay-at-home dad, and I just really, like, honestly wanted to be a great dad, one that I never had I never had growing up. And this is the motivation. It's been a continuous learning process with a lot of ups and downs. And when I reflect, man, I can just shake my head because I screwed things up a lot
Mm.
at different times. And now that our kids are older, they're 19 and 15 now, um, I'm continuously learning. Our kids are out of the house. Our son lives in Alberta, and our daughter's going to a boarding school, so she's not at home. And now it's like, how do we transition into the next phase? And that's what this is all about. And there are so many great dads. Like I'm a community. Well, I'm not a community, but I'm in a community of other parents who we meet on a weekly basis with the same mandate, just trying to be better parents and trying to learn new things. And so we're going to talk a lot about that in this podcast. We'll talk about different books. We got a lot of great people we're going to interview, and it's just going to be very exciting. How about you,
That's
Steve? Why
great.
don't you, yeah, give us your background,
Yeah,
because I think we're very similar, right?
yeah, absolutely. A lot of similarities. My dad died when I was 11, um, and really completely changed my life. And it was very challenging, to be honest. Did not have any role models. At the time when my dad died, it was very uncommon to have single parent families where I lived. So stood out like a sore thumb and impacted everything. Just getting to hockey. We didn't have a car, so getting to hockey games was a challenge. It's all those little things that, yeah, I think you kind of take for granted. So, Paul, like you, um, my son, who's now 26 years old, when he was born, I just wanted to, give him a lot of things that I wasn't able to get. And made, of course, made, tons of mistakes along the way. It's still, to this day,
Yeah.
trying to figure out what to do, how to do it.
Yeah.
My son went away to university in British Columbia, and then he's since moved overseas and working overseas and doing really, really well. Having a good life. Very proud of him. Um, but gone through different phases. What's it like to be a dad when
Hmm.
your kids are in elementary school, then high school, then university, and then off to conquer the world. So and honestly, I'm always looking to talk to people that can share some ideas, best practices. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I think that's where I am. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting, as time goes by, I see memories and flashes of when our kids lived at home because nobody's home here except my wife and I. And so the whole side of the house where the kids used to live, their bathrooms and their bedrooms and the playroom, is just everything's closed and kind of isolated. So
Mm,
it's always interesting to reflect. And every time I walk by, I'm constantly seeing memories of, when our daughter was little and she would come into our room and wake me up and Daddy, I had a bad dream, and I would carry her back to her room. And when the kids were in the playroom building Lego with our son Rory, and so many great memories. But it's amazing, how fast the time flips by.
oh,
And I was watching a podcast with Matt Damon, and he was talking about these memories of his children, and he said his daughter broke her right arm, I guess, or whatever arm she used to brush her hair, and she asked him to brush her hair, and he was
wow.
brushing her hair, and he was like, God, when was the last time I ever brushed my daughter's hair? Right? And he
Mm,
goes,
mm,
it was just a blink, and it made me remember too. It's like I used to do that. I used to bathe our kids, and I remember having our little girl, and she was like this big. Right now she's like 5'8", but she was just a little monkey, and she would come out of the shower, and I'd wrap her in a towel, and I'd blow dry her hair, and I would comb her hair, and it's like those are distant memories, and but now it's like it's the transition of life. It's like now we're in a different phase of life, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see where our children are going, and I'm excited to be a different kind of dad. Like how do we support our kids now, right? Because I was just talking to Rory, our son, this morning, and he's in Alberta, and he has to go to the chiropractor, and so it's like how do we help him get there and all this kind of stuff,
oh
and
yeah.
we're trying to help him grow up and help him live his best life too. So it's a completely different phase of life, and I
Mhm.
suspect you're kind of feeling the same thing.
Oh, absolutely. It's interesting you just say that because it makes me think that being a dad never ends. It just
Mhm.
changes.
Yeah,
And
good word.
yeah, and that memory you just were talking about makes me think of like when your kids would hold your hand.
Yeah,
It's like oh my God, like that was a long time ago, and it's not it's not happening now.
yeah.
We
Oh
have to
yeah,
force the hugs now, but
yeah, yeah.
um, and I guess that's why I think this is so important. I think personally, I think it's time that we start recognizing dads who are trying to be better dads. And that's what it really means. Better
Mm,
human dads means
yeah,
it's just a dad who's trying to be better,
yeah.
all the time, doing something different, making mistakes, learning from your mistakes. And,
Yeah.
um, and I'm hoping that if we can share some of these stories, that it can help people who are maybe new dads or old dads or in between
Mm,
dads. I don't know. It's such an incredible subject, and
yeah. Well, I think you're right. And then we've talked about this in the past about how society represents men and represents dads. And, I think there's a lot of really shitty examples of them, but I also think that there's a need for more connection among men. And I certainly
Mhm.
I never focused a lot on that. And so I think it's really important. And I hope that's what one of the spin-offs of Better Human Dads is, a community of connected dads who come together and watch these podcasts and participate in these podcasts and really understand that we're all trying to do the same, and that's a common thread in my parenting group. It's like we're all the same, and when we start talking about our fears, we all have very similar fears of how do our how do we protect our child? How do we help our children become independent? And when do we kick them out of the nest and all this kind of stuff? So I think the main message here for dads is you're not alone in the struggles that you go through. I've gone through lots. Steve has gone through lots, and it's going to continue because it's exactly like you say, is that it's parenting is like seasons. We change seasons when they're in kindergarten. I remember taking Riley as a little kindergartner and standing in line with her when she was like 4. And then now she went to finish elementary school, and then she went to middle, and then she went to high school. She's in grade 11 now. And it's just different phases of life because life changes, right? It's like our house. That whole side of the house is empty now, and it's just my wife and I and our little pooch. But it's a great metaphor. It's like parenting is like seasons.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that. That's true, very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's for me, I do look for it, by the way, and I should share that. Paul and I have a history that we co-wrote a book together called "Being a Better Human Teenager," and the purpose of that book was to highlight some of the incredible teenagers out there and what they're doing. So this is kind of a natural progression, I think, where let's talk about dads. I'm
Yeah.
sure I'm sure we'll have another project that's related to being a better human being. There's lots of opportunities here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think that the goal is, once again, find and hear about dads who are making a difference.
Yeah.
Let them share their stories, bring them all together, in a conference or a day or something like that, and share some inspiration. And we'll see where it goes from there. But I'm quite excited. I do have a list of dads I want to talk to from all around the world, and
Yeah.
we'll just and I'm actually chomping at the bit to have those conversations and to see how things are going.
Yeah. I think it's a good time here, Steve, to introduce our books too. So this was our first
Cool.
book, Being a Better Human Being. Steve and I wrote this book with Lisa Constantino and Robin Stewart, 2 ladies that Steve went to university with at Royal Roads. So that was our first one, and this is our second one, Being a Better Human Teenager. So it's a book here, and then the really cool part is that it's actually a journal on the back. And so Steve and I wrote this with Melissa Frum, she's in Calgary, and Hillary Rideout, and 2 ladies that Steve went to university at Royal Roads with as well, right, Stevie?
Yeah, yeah. And then
Yeah.
the last one is, probably can't see it so well. It's not good. Anyway, it's
Oh,
called
you get the blur.
Inspiring Better Humans. I'm in the blur. So,
Yeah,
but
there you go.
Inspiring Better Humans. So
Yeah.
this is just it's a passion. I'm going to say it's passion, eh? Like for
Yeah.
us, like we talk about it all the time.
Yeah. And you know what? It's a great opportunity to continue the series with being a better human dad. And that will be our next book. I'm not exactly sure if that's the correct title, but I think it's going to be Being a Better Human Dad or Better Human Dad, Steve.
Hmm.
So it'll be
Father's Day.
yeah.
I
And
was
it'll
going to say
be
Father's Day is coming up pretty quick.
that's right.
We need
That's
to
right.
get
Yeah.
on this.
So yeah. But I think it's this is going to be, I really hope this creates a community. The goal is to create a community of dads who can come into this, who can, when they're struggling, they can watch these podcasts and they can pick up some ideas and just really reach out to us and share their stories and share how this podcast is helping them. And of course, we don't have all the answers. So this will be such a great opportunity for us as well, Steve, to learn and grow to be better human dads.
Mhm.
So, we have lots of great ideas, and I think there are just so many dads out there. Like you'll see that in our podcast with the dads, that there are so many great dads who have so many great ideas, and really coming into this with a learning mindset, with an open mindset to go, how can I be better? And there's just so many great ideas. I have friends who have introduced such cool ideas and different podcasts and different emails, like the Daily Dad from Ryan Holiday and all those. So I would have never known about those except in this community. So I'm really excited to see what we're going to learn here.
Cool. But looking forward, some things to expect. This is obviously the very first kind of announcement of I'll call it a project and a passion project. But for sure, we're gonna look for dads that um, want to talk about being a dad. We'll
Yeah.
do it lots of different ways through some social media. We have social media accounts, and we'll start from there. We'll start just getting those stories together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty juiced about this, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, it's
Uh,
going to be really exciting to see,
yeah.
to hear other dads and what they're going through and what seasons of life they're in. Because in my parenting group, we have one guy, Steve, as well, and he's got young kids. Like he's got a 1 year old all the way up to I think 12, and so he's just
Mm-hmm.
starting out. And then we have guys who have adult kids like yourself, Steve. So it'll be really, really interesting to see the transfer of change of the seasons and how they managed that and how they did it right.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah,
And as you can probably tell, we're amateurs at this. We're not movie stars.
not
We're,
yet.
we're, yeah, we're not in the studio. We're just kind of winging it. For sure, we're going to make lots of mistakes as we go along.
Yeah,
But that's kind of like being a dad, right? I think about all the things that I would go back and change. But you know what? Hey, it's too late.
yeah, yeah,
And then all the things that I'm kind of celebrating that I'm glad I did those things, and we'll get into detail about that, but
yeah.
yeah, be kind of
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I constantly, not constantly, but every once in a while I get oh, God, I wish I wouldn't have done that. And it feels like now's an opportunity to try and repair all that kind of stuff, right? So that's where I'm at. Like
I
on a
guess,
daily basis, like how do you fix that, right? So, yeah.
well, I guess the question is, do you think our kids will watch this podcast?
Yeah, well, that'll
Probably
be
not.
interesting. Yeah, yeah. It'll be
You
interesting to
know,
see what they say if they do watch it. I'll let them know, and then I'll say, "Hey, what do you think
yeah,
of
yeah,
the podcast?" And it'll be like, "Whatever, Dad. I don't know what the
yeah.
teenagers are
Wait,
going
then
to say."
and that's when you ask that question. What do you think I could have done differently? Well, do you have
Yeah,
6 hours?
yeah. Well, there's because that's the thing. We used to do that all the time with our kids. It's like, how do you think Dad can get better? And it was always a litany of things I could do. It's like, okay, do this, do this, do this, and it was like a constant. I was like, well, I'm not doing
Oh,
that.
that's so funny.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Well,
yeah,
I don't know. We did our intro, so
yeah,
maybe we should wrap up now. And if you're watching this, watch for some new podcasts coming up for next little while.
yeah,
And if you're watching this and if you know a dad that you think has some great stories, let us know. Send us a message.
yeah.
Yeah, and just kind of juiced about getting this going.
Yeah, exciting to get this going for sure. And it's a good point, and we'll have to figure out how we're gonna let people communicate with us as far as
Yeah.
and we'll get
Well,
an email
if it's
set
on,
up and
yeah, and on YouTube too, they can always send a message, which will be great. So we'll put it up on YouTube. We'll throw it up put pieces of it up on Instagram
yeah,
and then and LinkedIn.
yeah,
So for sure, going to do it on the LinkedIn
yeah,
connection.
yeah. So there'll be lots of ways to connect with us, and that's such a great comment, Steve. Too. It's like if you are one of those great dads who's experienced some great learning lessons, and you have kids in different phases, it would be great for you to reach out to us because we're always constantly learning, and it'd be wonderful to hear from you too. So
Absolutely.
go from there. Yeah.
Well,
Okay. Wow. There you
have a
go.
great day, and
Thanks, Stevie.
we'll talk again. Okay. Take care.
Okay. We'll talk to you later. Ciao.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.